All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to tear out these old jalousie windows and how to put in double hurricane windows. All right, so you're not going to be saving anything, so you don't have to unscrew. You can just pull the tabs on the screens. But before you start doing that, make sure you turned your alarm off. Then you got to crank the windows all the way open. Once you get them all the way cranked open, then you can get access to the little screws that are on the very corners of the panes themselves. We're pushing the screens through. We're going to grab all of our tools, and you're going to need a driver and maybe a sawzall. So remember that these windows are over 50 years old. The screws are right on the very corner there. You can see it kind of loosens, but see that one there was a little stuck. And so we use the sawzall to cut it. Bam. So that comes in very handy, especially if you can't get these things or if they're stripped. But this one here, I think we got no problem. It came right off. And we're doing the same thing for all four of these panes. Just pulling them all off, and then we'll be left with the frame. And this one's a little hard to get here, so I think we're going to have to go ahead and get the saw on it and cut it. And so we're cutting it with a sawzall, just cutting right through all that stuff. You're not going to save any of this. I mean, they can take this and get, get money for the aluminum at one of those salvage yards. And then we're going to cut through the center. The center piece here is what held up those two windows. And then what we've got to do is go to the side, go to the top, release all of those big screws that go up into the concrete so that the frame will be loose. And once you get those screws out of there, then that frame will be able to come out of there. But the frame does have a bunch of caulk on it, and that caulk's old too. It's probably 50 years old. So you're going to have to go around with an X-Acto knife or utility knife and cut that caulk, and make sure you get all the screws out first, otherwise it's not going to come out. So we're cutting the caulk, getting that seal broke so that it'll pop out of there. And then really all you have to do is grab a hold of it and pull it. You'll see it starts to detach itself from the actual window there. And that way we can get that frame out there. But make sure you have all the screws undone. Otherwise you're going to have a hard time getting that frame out. So you can see it's coming out pretty easy. It just pops out. And that's it. Bam, the frame is out. Now we've got to clean this whole area and make sure it's nice and well prepped for the new hurricane window that we're going to put in there. So you got to get all of that excess caulk off of there. Clean all of the see it, it's all up on there. You got to get all that off. Get that nice and smooth so that we have a nice perfect fit for our new window that's going to go in there. And you can see we're just kind of brushing off all the dirt and the excess caulk. There's a big stream of it falling off there. And then just brushing that off, making sure it's nice and clean. All right, so we've got everything removed. We still have to do some cleaning of all this caulk off of here. And what we're going to do is we're putting two windows in here with a center support. And we're going to have to cut the sill because we've got to have it right in the middle, and it's got to fit in there, and we're going to have to do some concrete work also. All right, so anyway, we've got two windows and a center support that we have to put in. So these windows will go to the right and to the left with a support right in the center. So here we're drilling the screw holes on these centerpiece anchors that will insert on both ends of that center support. Here they're already drilled. We've got 3 of them. We had to do 4 total. So we have to cut the center supports to fit the windows. And you could use one of these kind of saws, but I would recommend using a miter saw, which is what we're going to do. And we're going to grab that out of the truck and go ahead and put the miter saw on these, so we make sure they're perfectly perpendicular at a 90-degree angle cut. But you know what they say, measure twice, cut once. And that's what we're going to do. There's the miter saw right there, and we're going to go ahead and cut those 2 center pieces because we've got 2 windows that we've got to do. I'm going to show you just one of them in this video, but we've got 2 of these double windows that we've got to put in. We've got to cut the sill, so we've got to have this exactly in the center. So we're measuring it out. So anyway, the center support anchor cannot be screwed onto a sill. You can set a window on the sill, but you can't do that. So we've got to cut that out. We got to fill it with concrete, and then we've got to have a firm, solid, level base to lock it into. All right, to cut the sill, we're going to use this grinder, and we're going to use this blower to get rid of the dust. Needless to say, you've got to make sure that you've measured this properly, and it has to be exactly in the center. Otherwise, you're going to screw up the whole project. So this is a very important thing. Measure twice, cut once. You have to be extremely careful not to break the windowsill, because these guys don't happen to have one of them on the truck, and that would stop the whole project. So they've got to be super, super careful when they're doing this and make sure that they get it exactly where it's supposed to be. So once you've got your cuts made, you can take a chisel and a hammer and kind of pop it out, but be very careful because you don't want to break the sill. And our anchor fits perfectly in there. Now all you've got to do is fill that with concrete, and then we're ready to go. You put your two anchors on the bottom and the top of your center support piece that's going to go between your two windows. You can see there's screw holes there and screw holes there. Those two anchor pieces slide in the top of the support and the bottom, and they're going to go right in this little cut hole that we have here after we've filled that thing up with cement and leveled it off. All right, so we've put some concrete in there, and we're just trying to check our level here. So we're putting the support in there to see how high we've got to go with this concrete to get a nice surface. So what we're doing is we're filling in that crevice, and we're creating a nice flat surface with the cement to set the hurricane windows on, and also that center support. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick up the right side and we're going to slide it in. You'll notice there's a little lip there, and it kind of sets over it. And right at the top, at the bottom, we're going to slide that little silver anchor on our center support underneath that to find the exact center of where we want to have this, so that we will have the support in the right spot. We're going to just double check. We're going to measure twice just to make sure that we're not screwing anything up. And we're going to get that thing over there nice and even. We're going to take our center support with the anchors on the bottom, and we're going to slide it underneath and on top of the bottom of that window that we've just set in there. All right, to get this center support exactly where we need it, what we've done is we put one of the windows on the right side, got it in there set perfectly, and now we're going to slide that center support in, get it up against it nice and tight, and then drill one hole down into the concrete on the bottom and on the top and screw it in. Then we're going to pull that window out and put the other two screws in, and then pull the window back and set it. So that is our plan. Hopefully this strategy will work. We'll see. All right, so that one's in. All right, so what we're going to do now is first we're going to drill down into the concrete, and then we're going to get one of the big concrete screws and screw that baby in there nice and tight. Next, we're going to grab our drill. We're going to go up top there. We're going to go into the hole that we already drilled in that support, and we're going to go right up deep into that concrete and get a nice hole drilled up in there. And then we're going to grab our concrete screw and our driver, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to lock that baby in there nice and tight. Bam! Now we got our center support exactly where we want it. All right, so now we've got to go ahead and lock in the other sides of that center support. To do that, we've got to push the window out just a couple inches so that we can get to the support and where the hole is, and then drill that straight down into that concrete. And we're going to do the top here. We get the hole going nice and perfect. And then we're going to grab our big screws, and we're going to go ahead and drive them right in there nice and tight and lock that sucker down. We got to put one in the bottom. Here we go. And that's it. Now we got to push the window back.
Okay.
Ow! Oh, Jesus.
Sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh, that's going to be the best part of the video.
Yeah. That's okay.
He must not like you very much.
That happens when you work really hard, you know? It's normal here.
Next, we've got to put two screws in that center support on the bottom. And that locks it into the... So we have to do, what, two on each side?
Yep.
And the window already comes with two spots where you're supposed to put the holes in, so it's not like you have to judge it. You just go ahead and put them in. If you look up here, you'll see there's two little spots right in there. He's going to go ahead and screw those a little bit shorter screws in there and lock that window directly into that center support, which will end up giving us a very strong attachment to the concrete and block.
Yeah, you okay?
Yeah, okay. It's normal. It's my brother. I got it knocked out.
That's your wife's brother, right?
Yeah, my wife's brother. Yeah.
This is what we call family teamwork.
Yeah. You remember, this company is Royal Pro Aluminum.
Wow, that fit perfect.
Yeah. Need to hit in. Need to use a wood, I think. Watch
So
it.
now we're setting in that second window, but you never want to hit the window with a hammer.
How's it look?
Okay, you gotta go in a little bit.
What you want to use is a block to get it to set perfectly in there. On the outside of the window, there is a little lip. And what he's going to do is take that block and just kind of tap it over just to get it in the exact spot where we need to have it so that it's perfectly level and straight.
Aquí abajo. Entra aquí un poquito. Sí, sí, trata de entrar un poquito de una cosa. Dale, que está.
All right, once you've got the window properly positioned in a perfect alignment, then you can put your screws in. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we did on the other side. There's 2 screws that we're going to put in on the bottom half of the window that go into that center support. So you can see there's already holes marked on there, so you just got to put your little bit smaller screws in there and lock that baby in, and that's what we're going to do. And then once we've done that, what we've got to do is close the window, pull it down, and then we're going to go up to the top. We're going to grab 2 screws and we're going to put them in. And again, there's 2 spots. We know exactly where we got to put them because the holes are already there from the manufacturer. So you just go ahead and screw them right in there, and that's what we're doing. We're using the driver to do that. And here's a better shot from it. You can see going in. And that locks the window into that center support. Okay, so anyway, we've got the one side to the support fastened. And now what we've got to do is we've got to drill all of our other holes. And we're going to start at the very top. The manufacturer does give you 2 spots where you got to drill your holes. So we're just going to use them. So everything's going to be uniform. Then we're going to go to the top left quadrant and drill our 2 holes. And then once we get that done, we're going to lift the window up and we're going to put our 2 holes on the very bottom quadrant of that. And as you can see, at the same time, we're putting the caulk on the outside because we've got the window set, ready to go, and now all we've got to do is grab the driver and put our screws in. All right, so since we got the window open, we'll go ahead and start at the bottom, get our 2 screws in there, nice and tight. Then we're going to drop the window, go to the top, and get that the left side 2 screws in. And then we're going to go up to the top, and we're going to get those 2 screws in, nice and tight. Bam, done.
So basically you got to do 2, 2, 2, and 2.
Yep.
So that's code, I guess.
All right, we've got our left side window completely fastened. Now we've got to do the exact same thing to the window on the right side, which means we've got to drill our holes and put our screws in.
Oh, that's not good. Good thing that wasn't your hair. This is hilarious. It's fun. I'm coming with you on the next job.
All right, so we've got to go ahead and put 2 screws on the bottom quadrant, and then we've got to drill our holes on the top quadrant on that right-hand side, and also up on the ceiling. So we got to put our 2 holes in there. And then we've got to grab our driver, and we got to put our concrete screws in and get them nice and tight. Make sure that thing is good and fastened to that concrete. Very important. All right, after the window is all fastened in there, you've got to, of course, caulk everything. You got to go around the outside and the inside and make sure that it's perfectly watertight. And very important, the caulk job has to be done professionally. All right, so once we've got all the caulking done and cleaned it up really good, we go ahead and grab the screens, and they're pretty easy to put in. There's a little spring on the top, and there's little thumb holes in the bottom. You just kind of slide them into the frame of it, and they just kind of pop in. They're not too hard to do. And once you got that done, you pretty much got everything complete it. And bam, there you go. You got hurricane window in there. All right, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel and check out my other awesome videos. Peace out.